Hello, friends, and welcome back to Malicious Compliance Stories. Let's start our video with a story about a parking predicament that turned into a game of automotive tit-for-tat. Imagine living in a place where free parking is a norm and everyone gets by without much fuss. Until a shiny new Audi parks so close to your car that you can't even squeeze in. But before we begin, best way to support our channel is to leave comments, like, and subscribe with the turned on bell so you don't miss the new video every single day. Here we go. Blocked my driver's side door, did you? There's this long stretch of road with free parking next to my block of flats. While we do have parking spaces below our entrance, most people who live here take up 2 or 3 depending on how many cars the household owns. Since the roadside parking is free, no one really starts any arguments and we just park our cars there. It only takes half a minute longer to get to it, no problem. Due to a certain nuisance to our health raging about, we don't really leave the house much. That being said, imagine how annoyed I was today when I set off to my car and find that I can't enter it due to a shiny new prestige Audi parked so close to it I couldn't even squeeze between them, let alone attempt to enter it through the driver's side. Now, the parking space is not small. There's more than enough space to park your car properly and enter it with no problem. I always make sure to park mine in the center of the box, but this guy literally put his right tires in the box my car was parked in. A whole quarter of his box on the left side was vacant. This couldn't just be an accident. He had to have seen how he parked when he left his car. I grumpily climbed in through the passenger side, went about my business, bought every necessity for the next few days, and came back. The Audi was still there. So, of course, I did the exact thing he did to me. I parked on his right, just close enough for him to not be able to open his driver's side door. Have fun repeating what I had to do to be able to use my car. I can see the parking from my window. As soon as I see the Audi's no longer there, I'll move my car to make more room for my next parking neighbor. Update. I was delivering food to the elderly part of my family when the car moved. My brother has his desk by the window and checked every once in a while. He said he, at some point, looked up and saw a woman climbing into her car through her passenger door. I went to move my car into a proper parking position when I got home, and the lady was decent enough not to leave any bumps or scratches. I and everyone here is well aware that not all people who drive nicer cars are jerks. The majority of people where I live are, and most of the ones that are belong to the younger generation. They will buy it simply for the sake of having this particular brand, even if it's used, old, etc. I don't see this when I visit a neighboring country. It's a here problem. Next time I'd write a note that says, "You parked so close to me I dinged your door." I'm writing this so the neighbors don't think I'm leaving you high and dry, haha. They'll look forever and find nothing. And our second story. Give me your card. So to preface this story, I have several chronic injuries that can make it extremely painful to walk. On bad days, usually it's mild discomfort and soreness after I get off work. They include advanced arthritis in both of my ankles, I have little to no cartilage in my hip, and a lower back injury I got when I fell, read jumped off the roof holding a parachute, read trash bag, and I'm overweight by some 100 pounds. I'm working on losing it, but work has pizza, and I'm a slut for pizza. So some days, if I step wrong, walking is horrid. And if it happens when I shop, I'll use a mobility cart. Age be damned. This particular occasion, I had just gotten off work at Red Shirt Store, not Target, and I was at Walmart doing my shopping, still in uniform. I'd finished up but had to go back in, and as I was getting up from my cigar, I tweaked my ankle. It effing hurt, y'all. So I hobbled into the store, grabbed a scooter, and went on my way. I had my headphones in and was jamming out, grabbing stuff as I Mario Karted around the store. Whilst making a hard decision between beer or chicken ramen, it matters, I felt a gentle tap on my shoulder. Something I really don't like due to some prior trauma, but I'm accustomed to because of deaf friends and society as a whole. I turn and see a very short, very old Latina woman. Her English was awful, but I gathered that she wanted something way too high up for her to reach. She was extremely polite, so I stood, limped around my cart, and grabbed it for her in true customer service, decent human being fashion. I popped in my headphones and went back on my merry way. Before I'd even left the aisle, I felt a bit of flesh latch onto my shoulder. I jerk away and look back. I'll leave much of my assailant's description up to your mind and their gender, because I'm really not sure. But the only fitting description is ham beast, as in their upper arms and legs had the proportion of hams. I'm overweight. This person was fit to be a star of My 600-Pound Life. Give me your cart, the ham beast wheezed. Me. No. Ham beast. Give it to me now. At which their jowls shook from the exertion of speech. Me. No. Ham beast. I am a customer. Me. So am I. Ham beast. No. You're not. At this point, I'm wondering how Ham beast managed to walk this far if merely talking was this much exertion. Me. Go get a different cart. Ham beast. There aren't any. Give me yours. Now. I'm more than uncomfortable at this point, so I hit the lever and pull away. Ham beasts lost their balance and toppled and began screaming. I hightailed it the F out of there, as much as you can in those little carts. When I went up to check out, I found EMS personnel somehow managed to get them on a gurney and was wheeling them out. I hope Ham Beast decides to diet or something. I can't wrap my mind around what these people must be thinking. Even if you had been lying and you weren't a customer, how entitled do you have to be to demand something that someone else is using? And how are they so sure that you're an employee? And our next story. Had a friend who wanted to borrow expensive equipment repeatedly and demanded I explain myself when I said no. This happened 10 years ago, but still bothers me. When I was at uni, I was pretty friendly with the guy. We weren't really close, more part of a very loose group. Still, he was nice enough, and when he asked me to borrow a video projector my dad owned for a special evening, I was glad to help. A year passes, and while we do still get along, I start to get a bit annoyed by his attitude. He always acted like he was doing me a favor by even talking to me, and had this tendency to have a bit of a snide undertone when he talked to me, as if I was always the butt of some joke. I tried not to let it bother me, because you can't always be on the same wavelength as everyone around you. And then he asked to borrow the projector again. Now, at this point, I should point out that at the time, it was an expensive piece of equipment, and that it was very fragile. In other words, the exact type of device you don't want to be moving around if you don't have to. Plus, the lamps it used had a very limited lifespan, and were also expensive to replace. And not only are those things difficult to reinstall, it really wasn't even supposed to be used for stuff like that, since my dad technically bought it for a professional organization he was a part of, so it would be tax deductible. On top of all that, I didn't care for the way he asked. Think, hey, we have one of those evenings again, so I want to borrow that projector again. No, it would be great if, or would you be willing to, or even a please? While he knew full well the thing wasn't even mine, I had to go to my dad and ask him as a favor. So enough of this fair weather friend. I'm not bending the rules for him a second time. Still, I wanted to let him down easy if I could, since it's always best to avoid harsh words if you can, and we had friends in common. Phone call, almost verbatim. Me. Sorry, I can't lend you that projector. CB. What? Why? Me. My dad doesn't want to. He bought it for organization, so technically it's theirs, and they have to be able to use it. So, yeah. CB. So, how does that work? Me. What? CB. I mean, it's in your house. Me. CB. So how does that work? Do they, have keys to your house, and can they just, come into your house and just, take it? Voice just dripping with incredulity. Me. I don't know, man. I guess if you believe you have some sort of right to the thing, I could pass you my dad and you can explain to him why that's the case. CB, quickly realizing his situation. No, that's fine. So, thanks anyway, I guess. Even now, I can still hear him say, can they just, come into your house? With this explain yourself punk tone in his voice while asking for a favor. Luckily, this is paired with the memory of suggesting he explain his entitlement to my dad. I'll never get how someone feels comfortable being that pushy while asking for a favor. And our last story. Forget about the house. I, 30-year-old male, have a sister, Lori, 26-year-old female, through my dad, 52-year-old male. When Lori was 3, her mom packed up her stuff, took Lori, and left my dad a note saying that she wanted a divorce. Lori's mom always hated how much my mom and dad still got along and refused to cut down visitation after having my sister. Lori's mom also reconnected with an ex-boyfriend and tried to deny my dad access to Lori. Soon after the divorce, Lori's mom got pregnant with twins and her affair partner bolted. Lori's mom tried to claim my dad as their father, which my dad said was physically impossible, but still insisted on a DNA. Lori is his, but the boys are not. Fast forward to when Lori's 16 and our dad owns a house, and during her week with dad, she asked if her mom and brothers can temporarily move in as her mom lost her job and can't stay in their apartment much longer. Dad refused and told Lori that if her mom is having that much trouble, then she needs to make other arrangements. Lori said that her mom's family was in another state and that if our dad didn't let her mom and brothers move in, they'd have to go to another state and that she would go with them. Our dad said that Lori was old enough to decide which parents she lived with and that if she would rather live with her mom full-time, he would support it. Lori was upset and said that if he loved her, he would help the people she loves. Dad said that he did love her but would not allow my ex and other kids to live off of him. About a month later, Lori used her key to let her mom and siblings in while Dad was out of town, and when he called the authorities, arrived Lori's mom claimed squatters' rights. Turns out Lori's mom had changed her address for a phone bill and bank statements to Dad's address for the past 2 months, and Lori would come over and collect them before he had a chance to see them. Dad was pissed and started legal eviction, but during the proceedings, one of the twins accidentally set the house on fire. Lori has apologized for her actions, but our dad was done and no longer desired overnight visits as he didn't trust her anymore and used her college fund as a down payment for a new house. It's been 10 years, and while Lori and my dad still talk, he still has his guard up with her. Last year, there was a health scare, and it was revealed that Dad's leaving his new house to me while Lori gets a few items. Lori and her mom don't think it's fair, especially since her fund was used to help pay for the house and want me to sign a document agreeing to split ownership of the house 50-50. I refuse for a number of reasons, but our grandma thinks that it would be the kind thing to do. Edit. More details. We're Americans living in the USA. Yes, my dad had homeowners insurance, but they were dragging their feet in the payout. Eventually got the money, though. My dad and I like to do fireworks for New Year's and 4th of July, so we had some in the garage and the twins got a hold of it, weren't properly supervised, and that's how the fire started. My dad's still alive. As stated before, there was a health scare because of the pandemic, and he wanted to get his affairs in order just in case, but he's fine now. Edit 2. Just to be clear on a few things about my grandma, she loves both Lori and me and means well. While my grandma thinks that signing the 50-50 split agreement would be the right thing to do, she isn't hounding me about it. She's only mentioned it twice and won't state her opinion unless asked, as she still respects the fact that everyone is an adult. My grandma doesn't own a house or have much in assets to will to anyone, and my dad gives her money regularly for luxuries.